Shh, shh, shh. Do you hear that? Spring is here. And so is free delivery on almost anything. Get everything you need to take on spring at our best prices of the season. From mulch to Traeger grills. Feels like spring at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Mulch available in-store and at select stores only. Limit to 75 bags per customer.
The General Insurance presents Shower Ballads by Shaq.
And I'm gonna keep on loving you, 'cause it's the only thing I wanna do.
Turns out, everyone does sound better in the shower. And it turns out, The General is a quality insurance company that's been saving people money for nearly 60 years.
I just wanna keep on loving you. For a great low rate and nearly 60 years of quality coverage, make the right call and go with the General.
The General Auto Insurance Services, Inc., an insurance agency, Nashville, Tennessee. Some restrictions apply.
Live from wherever you happen to be, it's the SNL Hall of Fame podcast. And now, here's your host, curator of the Hall, Jamie Dew.
It could be in a Spielberg movie, for heaven's sake. That last 10 seconds, it's like the aliens are landing and we've finally, communicated with them and achieved first contact and everything is going well. But then something goes amiss. I don't know. That's just me riffing on those goddamn bells. I love them. Thanks, Casey Lyons and Doug Donatz. Your work is very much appreciated, and it goes a long way in keeping the hall sounding and looking as professional as it does. My name is Jamie Dew, and I want to welcome you here where we once a week get together with an SNL superfan, journalist, podcaster, someone of that ilk. Someone who wants to talk about Saturday Night Live and can do so at length on a number of different topics, ranging from guest host to musical guest to writer and cast member. At that point, they are interviewed by me, and their person that they have brought to the table is added to the ballot. And then in just a couple short weeks, we will lift the veil. The ballot will be completely revealed, and you will be eligible to vote. You'll finally be eligible to vote, and we will elect our first Hall of Fame. Now, before we do anything, I need to remind you to please wipe your feet before you enter the hallowed hall. You just don't know what kind of, it's spring. The ground is a little muddy. You just don't know what you could be tracking in here. So we don't want any of that. Today we are, getting ready to wind things down, quite frankly. And we are meeting with our friend Justin Renwick yet again. And he is going to take us through a great episode with Dan Aykroyd. And Dan Aykroyd is, of course, one of the original cast members, a superstar. He's got a position named after him. He's, the ultimate utility man, right? Until, Phil Hartman came along, and you could argue that Bill Hader, was in that same vein. So it's interesting. Aykroyd is interesting. As a kid, was never really a fan. Just didn't understand the manic rat-a-tat-ness of it all. But I get it now. I get it. And he's a bona fide superstar. And, you can see him in the back of any scene just enveloping himself in whatever character he happens to be doing. And that goes a long way to me. So, I really do appreciate that. That's what I've got for you. And we should just get on with the show. What do you say? Justin Renwick, Dan Aykroyd, the Saturday Night Live Hall of Fame. What do you say we get to it? All right. Talk to you on the other side. into the thick of things here. Who are you bringing to the table today?
For performer, I would like to nominate. Is that the word we're going to use? So. I would like to nominate Dan Aykroyd, who, it's funny, you don't appreciate some people at the time. Like I knew he was funny, but you don't realize that you're seeing this incredibly high bar. And then when you see other people that call themselves like sketch comedians or whatever, and they're just not at that level, you sort of realize the difference between somebody like Dan Aykroyd versus anyone else. I know I'm not making a lot of sense right now, but
no, you are.
Okay. It's just the guy is just oozes talent. Like he's a really good writer. He's a great performer. He's a really good actor, and just like 100% commits to things. Like he's one of those guys. Kate McKinnon sort of has the same thing. If we're going to talk about somebody more now to compare to, she's someone that disappears into her characters. Her face is a little more recognizable, though. I don't know. You may have read this story. Like back in the heyday of Saturday Night Live, Dan was the only guy that could still ride the subway and not get recognized.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I haven't read that.
Whereas Chevy, there's the other famous story. It was like maybe a month after they'd been on the air. He was taking the bus to NBC, and he looked up at one point, and everybody on the bus was looking at him.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and it really freaked him out.
Yeah, I guess so.
Could you imagine?
That would be no.
Toiling away in obscurity for all those years, and everyone on the bus knows who you are.
Well, the show was just so monstrous out of the chute, right? Just like a juggernaut. Like when you read like the ratings and things like that, like it was. I wish 70s, I had been a part of. I wish I had been a part of it.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah, or even just to be a fly on the wall in a writer's room.
Oh God, yeah.
Just to hear the bits and premises being thrown back and forth.
A really high fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you'd have to be.
A fly with all the access in the world. All right, so let's talk about Dan Aykroyd. You mentioned that, this is somebody who disappears into characters, and we've all seen it when he's an extra in a sketch. He adopts a persona. He's not just Dan Aykroyd sitting at a table, stage left, upstage. Like he is doing something different than you see other people do.
Yeah.
I don't quite know how to put it, whether he's got a pair of sunglasses on or a fake mustache or whatever. Like he's doing something.
Yeah. He just 100% commits to things. And he, do we want to go into his background at all?
Sure. Absolutely.
So yeah, I've always found this very entertaining that he was actually born on Canada Day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, July 1st. 1952 from Ottawa, the son of I believe a diplomat. I'd have to double check that, but I think his father was high up in the Canadian government, but I could be wrong, and listeners, feel free to chime in. Also suffers from Tourette's and Asperger's.
Did not know that.
Yep. And, I shouldn't say suffer. He doesn't look like he's suffering.
No, absolutely.
At all. But he also was gifted with a photographic memory. So if you watch some of the old shows, you'll see he's one of the few people that never really has to look at the cue cards. He could look at a page. And as you know, the show is constantly being rewritten, sometimes on air. He's a guy who could look at a page and memorize it and just know what had changed in it and things like that.
I cannot relate to that at all.
No, me neither.
Now, I have a photogenic memory, but
no, I believe it's called eidetic memory.
Wow.
I think Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory claims to have that as well.
The
character, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And yeah, he studied criminology and sociology at Carleton University. He dropped out. I'm not sure. The timeline's a little funny because he was born in 52, so I'm assuming he must have skipped a grade somewhere, which I could see. And because it looks like he moved to Toronto in 1969, so that would put him at 17 years old.
Right.
Anyway, without getting too far in, well, we'll touch on it a little bit. Rosie Schuster, who was Lorne Michaels' ex-wife, Frank Schuster's daughter of Wayne and Schuster.
Yeah.
They were neighbors in Forest Hill here in Toronto growing up. That's how Lorne kind of got his start in the business. I think he got a lot of advice from Frank Schuster. But anyway, Danny and Rosie had an affair for a while after Lorne and her had split up.
Right.
And actually, I think it was one of the other women writers, Ann Beats, said that Danny's dream would be to commit a crime and then arrest himself, and that he studied criminology and sociology at Carleton, and also wanted to be thought about being a Mountie for a while as well.
Wow,
So that was her line about him. So yeah, he moved to Toronto, 69. I know that he started improvising with Valerie Bromfield, who was on the very first episode of Saturday Night Live. She just did like a little 2-minute bit that had been cut down from 6 minutes because they overbooked the first show.
Yeah, big time.
Because they didn't know if it was going to be a disaster or not. At a theater, I think it's at Church in Wellesley, called the Global Village. Again,
still there?
I think there's something there. Again, listeners, if you want to chime in. And Andrew Alexander ran that theater, who later started the Second City in Toronto. So that's where Danny forged that relationship. And yeah, apparently I just learned this, and this was on Wikipedia, so who knows? But apparently Danny was on Lorne Michaels' show that was on CBC in the late 60s, the Hart and Lorne Terrific Hour. Hart was Hart Pomerantz, who was a co-collaborator with Lorne. They both wrote on Laugh-In.
Right.
Before that, and then wound up coming back to Toronto and doing the show. So apparently Danny appeared on that show, and he would have only been 17 then, which is crazy. I can't imagine performing comedy on TV at 17.
No.
I was so awkward and ugh. And yeah, he was with the Second City, the initial cast of the Second City in Toronto. And there was a lot of not pollination, but there was a lot of like trading in those days. So he did stuff in Chicago as well. And I don't know that he ever performed in Pasadena, but I know they opened a Pasadena branch in the mid-70s, and Danny and John were driving out there when Danny got the call to come to Saturday Night Live. So I don't know if he ever made it there. And he won an Emmy in 1977 for writing, along with all the other writers on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, and I'm nominating him not just for all that, but just for setting the bar. He had his share of definitely iconic characters. Erwin Mainway, who was the horrible, sleazy Johnny Bag of Glass.
Because Super Bass 76 is the tool that lets you use the whole bass with no fish waste without scaling, cutting, or gutting. Here's how it works. Catch a bass, remove the hook, and drop the bass. That's the whole bass into the Super Bass-O-Matic 76. Now adjust the control dial so that bass is blended just the way you like it.
Here and
oh shit.
You stun it, you kill it, you cook it.
That's right. Oh man.
Yeah. Elwood Blues, of course, which started back in Second City when he met John Belushi. Used to come up to Toronto a lot, and they would hang out and go to Grossman's Tavern on Spadina and see Downchild Blues Band, I think, and some of the other
that would be
Toronto blues bands
for sure.
Yeah, and that's what they based that on. Beldar Conehead, which is the craziest story. Do you know how he came up with the Coneheads?
Well, I read Tom Davis's book.
Yeah.
And it's like a drug-addled like craze-a-thon. And he talks in that book about how he and Aykroyd went away one summer to Easter Island.
Yep.
So this is the story then?
That's only part of the story.
Okay, so then you tell the story.
Yeah, it was after the first season. Yeah, they went to Easter Islands, and apparently Danny would just sit there afterwards going, the heads. Because for those that don't know, there's these giant head sculptures on Easter Island that bear a bit of a resemblance to the Coneheads, I'd say, because they're sort of, they go on a downward trajectory, I guess. I'm miming a downward trajectory, but you can't see that out there.
Unless you pay the bonus fee. You're watching live right now.
Or unless the LSD is really good. The other two influences were French pinhead lawyers was something he had come up with. God knows why. Whoever at the show said that wasn't a good idea because you're going to insult people who were, I forget the term, encephalax. I don't think I'm saying it right, but basically whatever gives you quote unquote pinhead. I feel like I'm triggering so many people right now. Anyway, there was that. And I think it also started, he was watching TV and he'd smoked a joint and was a little high and the aspect ratio was off. So everybody was kind of stretched and sort of, looked like the Coneheads. So he put those three things together and came up with the Coneheads, and that's why they came from France, because they were French pinhead lawyers at one point.
Jesus Christ, that's great.
Yeah, and it was funny because they observed American society as an alien would, and pointed like mass consumption. Let's consume mass quantities. Open 6 beers at once and eat an entire bag of chips. And it was a pretty good satire on North American life as well. Not to give it too much credit, but those levels, right? Those levels to comedy. Fred Garvin, male prostitute. They only did the one sketch, but you really didn't need another one. That one was perfect. You remember that?
I just remember the catchphrase.
Yeah, Margot Kidder.
I'm coming. Hello?
Mrs. Potter?
Yes, that's me.
The same Mrs. Potter who's vice president in charge of loans for the Franklin National Bank of Chicago?
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, this is for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
May I come in?
What for?
Well, you see, ma'am, when a VIP like yourself comes to Moline to do business, it's customary for the company to send a gal up to the room. Compliments of Great Lakes Feed and Grain. And, well, since you're a gal, the company sent me, Fred Garvin, male prostitute.
I don't think you understand, Fred. I'm not that kind of girl.
Let me reassure you, ma'am. I can assure you professional hygiene, discretion, and animal gratification.
I have never had to pay for that in my whole life.
Well, don't worry about it. Great Lakes Feed and Grain is picking up the tab. You've got me for the whole night.
Hey,
Hay is for horses, young lady. No ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Mr. Garvin.
You're spending the night with Fred Garvin, male prostitute. Well, now, I have a work order here which specifies that I am to roger you roundly till 6:15 tomorrow morning.
Hey, wait a minute. Now, don't I get a say in this? I mean, maybe I want some sleep. Maybe I don't want to be rogered roundly.
Ma'am, you're dealing here with a fully qualified male strumpet. I service the entire Quad Cities area, Moline, Rock Island, Davenport, and Bettendorf. Why not give me a word? What have you got to lose?
What do I have to lose? No one's ever gonna know. And I'm not gonna see Paul for another couple of weeks. Sure, he's not the most attractive guy in the world. But if he can make a living at this, he must be doing something right. Okay, Mr. Garvin. I'll try it.
Congratulations, Mrs. Potter. I knew you'd come to your senses. And now, ma'am, if you're amenable, I'd like to begin the session by striking a few seductive poses.
That's nice.
I call this one the snake. Fine then. If everything's going okay, you should be hotter than Billy by D be damned by now.
Well,
Miss
I don't know about
please
this.
cooperate.
I
Come on
don't
now,
really-
come on. You'll thank yourself later. Now, come on. Skedaddle into this bed here, young lady. Come on. Hey, just jump right in here.
okay.
Now, if you don't mind, I do work with the glasses and jacket. Feeling anything yet? Any symptoms of arousal?
I don't think so.
Well, these things take time. Perhaps a bit of humor will break the ice. What's red and green and goes like this?
I don't know.
A frog in a blender. Here you go. And now look at this.
What's that?
My backseat driver's license. enough foreplay. Let's get cracking.
Hey, wait a minute.
What?
What is all that stuff you got down there?
Oh, that's my rather elaborate network of trusses. I will need your help with a couple of these. I got the old hernia truss here. I got a spleen truss. It undoes with a couple of snaps at the back here. Go ahead.
No, I don't think I will. You know, I think this is too much for me.
No, it's just a couple of snaps at the back. You know, you just got to make sure you don't touch the rupture. That's all.
Like that?
Yeah, at the back.
Ooh, I'm so. Oh. Who's that?
It's Slick.
Who's Slick?
Slick.
Your friend?
This takes a little explanation. You see, Slick is a gentleman of leisure. He looks out for me and the girls. Be there in a jiffy, Slick. By the way, one good word from you would really put me in good with the boss.
Okay, Fred. Okay.
Hey, Slick.
Fred, my man. I was down the hallway. I thought you might need some help with your trusses, baby.
Oh, no, we don't need any help with his trusses. In fact, I think maybe you both better get out of here.
What's the matter, lady? Hasn't Fred attended to your needs?
Oh, no, he's really attended to my needs. He was wonderful. The earth moved. In fact, it moved so much, I don't think I could take any more.
That's my Fred. Yeah, he's my bread and butter man. You see, in my stable, I got 8 girls and Fred. Come on, Fred, let's go, man. They got some hungry women down in Bettendorf waiting for the Garvin lizard.
Fred, I just want to thank you for tonight. I'm never going to forget it.
Well, thank you, ma'am. I do what I can. Because I'm Fred Garvin, male prostitute.
Apparently, that character was based on... Danny would do this to make Rosie Schuster laugh. He was imitating Canadian Tire salesmen that used to come door to door in the 50s, who would tell all those awful, terrible jokes like, what's red and green and goes like this? A frog in a blender. And with the hat and the glasses and everything. And I also have Yortuk Festrunk here of the Festrunk brothers.
Absolutely. I mean...
Which to my understanding was Steve Martin's bit. He did the other brother, but I don't think he had a name, but he did that character that talked like this. And
yeah,
when I meet a woman, I walk right up to her and put my hand right down her pants. Like this.
Yes. Yeah. And also
that you can't and shouldn't get away with nowadays. So that is why I am nominating Dan Aykroyd, because I think he exemplifies the best parts of the show. And he was also somebody that was, I think it was a John Belushi's book, Bob Woodward's book, Wired, about John Belushi. And I think they mentioned it in Doug Hill and Jeff Weingrad's Backstage History of Saturday Night, which is probably the book I've read the most in my lifetime, because I think it's amazing. That's not only well written.
That's the one that's from 86, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through that right now.
Yeah, I read that in my first year of college and was just absolutely obsessed with it. I had no idea at that point that Dan Aykroyd had been in Second City.
Well, I think this is a great nomination. I think that he's one of the original hires. He stuck around even when his bestie left the show.
Well, they actually left the same
season. Oh, they left together, didn't they? They left after.
But he was waffling. He wasn't sure. He was really torn between
and they left
loyalty.
to do Blues Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
They had so much stuff going on at that time. It's a shame that he had to leave. And Bill Murray has said he felt really put upon because now he had to do all their roles, and that's why they also bumped a lot of the writers up to performers just to cover all the stuff that Dan and and John used to do.
That's right.
Al Franken.
Yep.
If you watch that season,
they all became featured players in that season. 79-80.
The credit roll used to go on forever.
Yes.
And SCTV actually did a really good parody of it that year. They did Thursday Night Live.
They did?
Live from Edmonton. Have you never seen it?
No.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Earl Camembert is the host. And it opens with it's very typical of Saturday Night Live at that period. There's a lot of backstage, fourth wall stuff, a lot of like ridiculous over-the-top drug references. They have a black actor who they put in drag, which they did to poor Garrett Morris way too often.
Right.
And they really nailed it. And yeah, the credit roll just goes on and on and on and on and on. Really funny. Look it up.
Oh,
Thursday Night Live.
Yeah, I'm not overly versed in Second City. I won't lie to you, or SCTV rather.
We're gonna save that for another podcast. But I will say, without Saturday Night Live, you would not have SCTV, because Andrew Alexander, who ran the Toronto Second City, was tired of losing his cast members. He lost Danny and Gilda,
right?
And Lauren was circling the waters trying to get. I know he was interested in Joe Flaherty, John Candy, and Dave Thomas.
Catherine O'Hara as well, right?
Catherine O'Hara was on. She was signed and was going to be on the show in the 1981-82 season.
That's right, and it ended up being
went down there. They brought back Michael O'Donoghue, who had been the head writer, who was a very mercurial talent in his own right, and he was particularly off the rails at this point, and had them spray painting the word danger. Or he spray painted the word danger, ran out of paint halfway through, and then like ruined his stunt by having to open another can to finish spray painting the walls in the 17th floor where they write the show. And yeah, Catherine O'Hara said, and then I'm standing there spray painting on this wall going, what am I doing here? All my friends are in Edmonton getting ready to do a show for NBC. Like, fuck this.
Right.
I'm leaving, and let them know my friend Robin Duke, they were old roommates. You should hire her. And they hired Tony Rosato as well, who'd also been Second City stagecast and on the show.
Damn.
On SCTV. Yeah.
Wow. So why should, like, if you were to summarize it in a nutshell, why should somebody vote for your nominee when the time comes to vote?
Because I think he is one of the architects who helped shape what the show is today. As like Chuck Berry is to rock and roll, Dan Aykroyd is to Saturday Night Live. Just the premises, the manic pitches. Like, even I would say he's one of those people that can elevate lesser material just solely through commitment. Wrote so much of it, so very much his voice sort of dictated what the show was, and just absolute commitment and stagecraft, and just so talented, like unbelievable.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when the time comes, will Dan Aykroyd get your vote? We will find out.
Okay, and that's it. That's it for the season as far as Justin Renwick is concerned. He's been a great visitor, a great guest, and I really want to thank him so much for appearing as many times as he has, always bringing the goods. So there's that. And that brings us to the end of this podcast episode. That brings us to the end of Dan Aykroyd. Pretty good stuff, right? The Easter Island French pinhead stuff, that's fantastic to me. And again, the book that I mentioned is the Tom Davis book, and the title is escaping me at the moment. But it's a great book. Look it up. Easy read as well. So what do you say we pack things up for this week and start to build the excitement toward the voting period? April 25th. So that's next Monday. Oh my goodness gracious. We got one episode left. And then we're going to be doing some fun punditry. And I hope you enjoy all of that. But for now, I'm going to ask that you do me a solid. And as you're walking out the door, just reach over and flip that light switch off, because the SNL Hall of Fame is now closed.
Thanks for listening to the SNL Hall of Fame podcast. You can find everything you need to know about the show at snlhof.com. Don't forget to subscribe, share, rate, and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. This is Doug Denant saying, this is Doug Denant saying, see you next month in the hall.
Podcasts and such.
Seize the day with another daily affirmation from Best Fiends. Enough is never enough. Why be happy with what you have when you can have more? Playing the puzzle adventure game Best Fiends always satisfies your need for more. More levels, more challenges, more me time, more fun. You can download Best Fiends for free and play it anywhere, even if you're stuck without Wi-Fi. Collect a team of fiendish friends and power them up as you play more levels. Battle the menacing slugs using your team of characters. Every win brings new challenges, and with literally thousands of puzzles, there's always more to play. Because more is better, and enough is never enough. Satisfy your need for more. Download Best Fiends for free today on the App Store or Google Play. You'll even get $5 worth of in-game rewards when you reach level 5. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends.